going on here? Oh.
Well, it was 2 instant headshots, but Ardis's gun does slightly more damage at that range, so he's going to be the one to get away with it. I'm excited to see his jet. It has been a while since we've seen him play at the top level on this agent, so hopefully it's still going to be the same as old, because he was definitely one of the, at least in the early days of like the beta and moving into that, Fish 123 roster, he was one of the best players in the world.
Yep, absolutely. And we obviously saw over time less and less of him, less and less of the team. And then we get to check back in, create those, or well, I guess I'll create the new heroes, but look at the old ones. That's a nano swarm flying out from long. A lot of information going towards big on this. They know that there's players on A long. They know that an execute was set up, but then they hear steps back. They notice nothing towards A, no more utility, and they're going to start to rotate right away.
Leaving the stars a little later just to almost try and call in that bait that was going in onto the other side of the map, and they will actually know that at least for now there is no one within the site. Zipan's going to catch the pushing from Twiston as well. However, the spike has been dropped out in the open. This gives a little bit of an opportunity for Big to fight this one back. The swing from Gob. He's still just going ham. It's left onto him once again in the clutch situation. He's heard the reload, and of course the big man himself is going to win it.
Wow, Gobby really leading by example. We made some points about him having the aim in the previous map as well as the brain, but wow, we're seeing it right off the bat here on Haven, and a devastating blow to FPX. You know, after that previous map going the way it did, they'll take any rounds that they possibly can, and at this point, Big have just shut down most of their hope for getting off to a good start on the attack. We're going to go into second round. They're not going to have many weapons to play with, but they talked about Artis on the jet. He is going to play with the Marshall to try and get some opening picks here towards A long.
Yeah, the goal, as always, is going to be to try and farm up as many ultimate points as he can. And while he's taken down the hero from the last round, I wonder what gun Gobby actually had there. I didn't catch it, but considering he was the person who got the majority of the kills, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it was a rifle. That was the only rifle they had. So Aslan is going to quickly try and retrieve that one. Does still have his dash available. And actually, they're going to go battling and brawling versus what is now just pistols.
Yep, nade left, stun right, conscious of a second player. Well done by Aslan. The flash blocks any follow-up. Sorry, the cloudburst blocks any follow-up from the flash, and they get out of there. Very nicely handled. Big are back to the site, and they've got a very nice chance to close this out, considering how the opening duel went. Still, though, have to be worried about Artis's weapon. It's made its way into Xiao's hands now. It's looking down on long, but it needs a headshot. That's the thing. With 150 health on Aslan, perfected health, you're going to have to hit that shot right away, and well, with Zipang stuck in the corner, he was dead for sure. This round was about to be neatly tidied up.
What? My classic doesn't work like that, and I am not saying that it's my fault.
A nice little double tap, yeah. I think it is your fault, though, Tom. That's, no, I don't think I could do it, but I think there's good reason for that. Either way, it's 2-0 now. And Big are looking good defensive side. Here's where FPX gets some big old rifles out, though.
Spike down.
Yeah, a decent resurgence. And it sounds a bit silly, but it almost ends up better, the fact that the rifle falls into the hands of the jet, because Aslan is going to farm up some extra orbs. It would have been better, I guess, for Gobby, just because he would have actually had his Hunter's Fury online. And now they're going to invest back into another rifle just to make sure that they bolster up this by at least a little bit. But again, within seconds, there is a player over on that big side which has hit the deck.
Yeah, garage push really not working out for them, and that's Killjoy utility taken out of the round. C long is now effectively open, and FPX gain a lot more pressure without doing anything really, except holding in that early default. And although Aslan gets the first, he is caught right after. So even that won't help Big out all too much, and it costs them quite a lot with that rifle now down on A long. They're going to get it back, though.
Gun.
He's just thrown it across so that he can try and sneak his way through. I like the idea, but I don't know if he's thrown it as far as he might have hoped. Luckily, there's not going to be anyone watching that cross, and I guess that was what was being assumed by Gobby, that that's less likely to be the angle they check. It is cursed so far with players just going into their utility the second someone's about to round the corner. Freebie coming up for FPX, and while now Gobby, I feel like a lot of this comes down to him again.
And that could have changed the round entirely
30
if Casp
seconds left.
didn't turn around. And of course, as I said, with Killjoy
Spike
going down
planted.
early, you lose the long control. It's effectively wide open. So you have to keep turning back to check it. Those stars had to go down eventually just to try to contain them a little bit on the smoke. But the timing, I mean, otherwise, Casp has a really good opportunity in that duel. But with Xiao taking him down, Big are looking to save rifles yet again. They have gotten out of everything that was important, and the round has gone to FPX as expected. But I'm more concerned about how convincing it was. You know, it's not a huge problem, but FPX have now got the opportunity to build up a strong economy if they win the next round. They will certainly want to do a lot more with this next one. And it's mainly the problems with, like, okay, garage aggression didn't work out, garage hold got timing done. Those are things you can fix coming into the next round.
Yeah, and as well, the fact that they saved 2 guns is almost just a bonus, because for the majority of players, they'll be able to rebuy into this one anyway, so it wouldn't have been the end of the world. I think the only issue would have been, like, Casper not having a gun, so it's 2-1, but that was still their bonus round, taking down a couple of players and surviving with a couple of guns. It's definitely not the worst case scenario. The interesting thing will be if the null point is actually used by Zipan in this one. It's still an ultimate that I don't think has had a massive amount of value from it, but especially when you have such a heavy utility setup over on C, it could.
Need that back.
Same shock dart every round. So far, we haven't seen FPX run through it or run into it at all. They're holding a super passive default, and do you blame them? They've been pushed consistently at the start of rounds. This is the right call, but now with the rifles, Big don't want to take that much of a risk. Aslan has the dash to get out of here. He doesn't even need it.
Is the smoke going to give them something away? No, in fact, it's going to be the Hunter's Fury, and that's tagged a multitude of players, or at least it seemed it would. How's he managed to shoot that in between, like, all of them? I think it just hit Xiao once. That's almost impressive. There was the whole team there.
Yep, everybody managed to avoid it. And the player that had been tagged by the drone was safely away by the, I think, second pulse. Fragment's going to stop the push here. Good delay by Big, but there's 40 seconds left. Plenty of time for FPX, but it's about getting these players ready to push back out. Flash from Twistin doesn't have anybody pushing with it. And now he's on the side alone, but getting away with it. He'll barely make it around the corner. Getting tagged by a bullet on his way, but he swings back into heavy traffic, taking down Artis, keeping the advantages in their favor, but the res can come through. Zipan was being picked back up. But then the swing came in from everybody else. Big rallying to the rest of their team, closing that round out and putting 3 on the board.
Yeah, I think the second he gets dropped, that round just becomes a complete mess for FPX. Like, basically just hoping that they can try and get the res or at least bait people in. Saigetsu does quite well here, but doesn't expect a third player to be rotating through. And after that, well, yeah, an attempted res just not working out. And it does feel like it takes an incredibly long time when you're attempting to actually do it. So an almost instant reset. There is still going to be a buy coming up for FPX. And more importantly, if Artis gets 1 kill, they're going to be able to throw over the rifle. Oh, that's such a good knife.
Good knife.
It's got them so much information, but it didn't catch the one player lurking outside.
Who was
It's so
tagged?
frustrating. That's Spike.
I mean, they spotted him. They spotted him, but the reaction wasn't there in time. Twistin doing some good damage. He's stealing most of these pistols, and Xiao's going to try his best to refrag here on A. He's actually heard the player running back. He has really good timing on that peek, and God B is caught unaware. But look who's here. By the time he gets to side, Obnox is going to be waiting. Is Xiao going to expect someone to be tucked on short? There were only 3 players alive when he got that first kill. Oh, he spotted him. Good information to play with. Has an idea on the second player too.
Standing ahead.
That reveal clears out the back of the site, but Obnox had already repositioned. Another round for Big. Not necessarily convincingly, but now you start to look at the attacking economy and think, well, they don't have cash for this round, so the defense could possibly start to run away with things.
Yeah, the only thing that's really going to be the trouble is the ultimates that are currently online, but the same can be said for the other side. It really is starting to become a a good spot for both teams when it comes to the ults. But yeah, that round was interesting because they had an awful lot of information, especially by the first knife catching 4. I think that is why they sort of went so aggressively into catching Angel, but then also dropping that spike. It just threw the round into turmoil, the fact that it was on its own with the rest of the team pushing.
Oh, the aggression coming right out of Artis, and he's able to catch Casp, not with the knives, but with the classic, and now wide swinging on sight for another. Twistin's gone down. Oh, Big have fallen apart. They face pistols and a Blade Storm. The Blade Storm doesn't get a kill, but the pistols most certainly do. They get more than just a fair few. The whole team practically on the floor at this point. Aslan and GotB having to fight back, and it's a scrappy 2v5. In fact, now Aslan needs the ace, and he'll get nowhere close to it. A second round for FPX in the most unlikely of fashion.
Do you want to know why he got the kill in the classic?
Go on.
He got hit with the knife. So the knife flew over, took away his knives, and then he had to use the classic to get that kill after using the first 2. So it was an incredibly good throw from Twistin, wherever it was from. But yeah, he got hit with the 0 point.
Fair play.
Or at least that's what it looked like. I'm pretty sure he was suppressed as he ran into the site. So that was just perfectly placed, but it didn't matter. Still managing to get the opener. I think it was 3 kills in the end for Artis. And that's always going to be the thing with Artis. And it's why I'm always curious when he's playing in a team like FPX, which as a CIS team is incredibly slow. Like these attacking defaults normally involve like pushing, prodding, waiting for mistakes. Artis's playstyle was never really like that. And you see it in a round like this. If you tell Artis to go, he's gone. Like before you've even finished the sentence, he's in the site fighting his opponents. That's the style which he was the best at out of anyone. Even when you included like in the G2 days where he wasn't even playing his jet, he was so good at being that aggressive player. So I guess it gives an extra spark to FPX that maybe they didn't have in the previous roster, because although I think the players like Zipan definitely had those rounds, I don't think they had it in the same regard as someone like Artis.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. I mean, look, for those of you that have been around since the start of Valorant, you look back at some of those old G2 interviews, and I think right away you'll notice that not many people are like Artis. You know, he's a unique individual, but in the best possible way.
He walks on water.
He walks on water in this game. I'll say that's the one thing I know about him.
The other stuff we can't repeat.
The rest of that interview has been redacted. FPX are going to go for a bit of an A hit on this, at least to start things out. Poking in, they've put their stars everywhere. They'll recall those a little bit later on. For Big, the information's about to go towards them. Drone out. Only 1 player spotted, so it's not really reactionable information. Or actionable information. That is, though.
Oh, and he's going to dodge Big suppressed as well. So we'll keep the knives. Chow. Okay. Him forcing off, and he's going to try and play within the nanoswarm. It doesn't do a crazy amount of damage, and we're just hoping that he can turn the tide in his favor. Instead, GotB's gone down, and the rest of the team look to execute.
Oh, that's a big problem for them to deal with now. A lockdown from FPX called into effect. A lot of players ready to execute on the back of this.
30 seconds left.
For a second, like we might have had Twistin pushing up into heaven a little deeper, but I think maybe if he had a fragment still, he might have tried to stop them pushing out on long, but that wasn't there to play with. And now the flash out of heaven that doesn't connect. The Blade Storm taken away from Aslan for the next couple of seconds. That's going to cause some major problems now. Delaying this retake that little bit more, adding precious few extra seconds onto that clock. Twistin does a damn good job of picking the kill up and then ulting to stop any further execution from coming through. This is Big. Down and out. I said Twistin, I meant Zipan. I'm so used to Twistin. I've seen so much from him on this KO.
That's the problem with mirror matchups. Yeah, eventually you're gonna say the other player's name.
One thing though about Aslan and Twistin, these are 2 players that have been around for quite a while and been rumored to be, you know, to have a lot of potential, very strong individual players, but we haven't seen them push through to that tier 1 level just yet. And I honestly think for both of them, having seen them for a while, it's a matter of individual. Sorry, it's a matter of luck almost. It's not a matter of individual skill. They can compete at that level. They can hold their own at the top, but finding the right team, finding the right group of individuals to play with to really maximize that potential is what I'm looking for. This could be the team. Look, someone like GobB, he's going to get the most value out of you.
I think as well, it's just the fact that they have other players on the team like Casper and Obnox that are incredible role players. Like they're so good at actually just filling the gaps for other people to sort of be slightly more aggressive at times. And actually, I guess Aslan has also done that with the different agents that he's been picking up within this team. But yeah, it's been a project for Big, and that's why I like they've stuck with this roster for a bit of time now, and they are reaping the rewards of it. This round from the defense, as many of them, they're looking to take that early control and try and deny the space from FPX, who in most cases are more than happy to wait. And for now, well, they got a little bit of information and a little bit scary there for Casper.
We've seen FPX's late round executes cause a lot of issues before. They're going to pick up the pace on this, and Obnox is shut down. C-site completely open. Garage all they have to worry about, but that's both smoked and nano swarmed off. Now a fragment to secure. Should be able to get this plant nicely, and I'm not even sure if GobB was visible to Artist there. Maybe he followed the arrow. Either way, they've done a lot of damage and pretty much secured this round with very few hiccups.
Yeah, looking much cleaner. I think they're using their utility well to try and find that information. I think they've also, like, this is something they struggled with on their attacking side of Bind as well, was just how much Big would poke and prod. I think they were expecting maybe a slightly more tentative defense where it's like, okay, you'll challenge for some map control. Whereas I think, especially in a lot of these early rounds, Big have challenged for a lot of map control. Like, we've seen them just wide swing out Garage. We've seen them fight all the way down long. So I feel like FPX have almost adapted to that a little bit, started to realize, okay, if they're going to push this, we can take this. We'll wait for this player to make this move. And eventually it's found them an opening kill in a lot more rounds than we had initially.
Right away, going to be 0 pointing into Garage and looking for control. FPX, the turrets ran away. It's escaped the spray. But Twistin has not escaped the Hunter's Fury. One returned on the other side, I think. Did I just hear that? Yeah. We're going to have a fight on back site that leaves Aslan in the dirt. Obnox is practically no HP. And GobB is, well, he's locked out of this one. Still sat on A long. That is peculiar, I'll say. They dealt with the end of that round very, very cleanly.
I don't know how Artist gets that kill so easily. Like, it looked like Obnox had him dead to rights, maybe expecting someone else to come around the corner and looking how they'll line it up. We've just seen someone else, I think, go to the bathroom on the big side and got B's cap. Someone just ran out of the room. Oh, it's almost comical at this point. But yeah, I guess knowing that Gobby's just going to be saving and not much he can really do in this round. But I am liking, again, like, this round was something I think we saw from Gambit quite a bit yesterday. Like, you have those really slow defaulty rounds, your opponent gets used to them. So you then, this is the Angel Classic, you throw in a blitz round, and that's what this was. Like, even if they didn't win it, it keeps Big on edge a little bit more because they're like, okay, at any moment they could just run into Garage. And I think they also did that because they knew that, I think Casper's played there almost every single round. So if he gets caught, it's a free kill.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once you're inside that Garage, you've got your grav well like that. Whether you get 0 pointed or not, I mean, the 0 point's just a little bit of extra. Like, no matter who it is that's in there, their utility's gone now. They can't slow you down. You can just swing them in with the flash. I mean, the executability of the comps that we're seeing here is huge. I'm really liking KO in, I think, Haven, on Breeze as well. We're seeing them used very, very well. Whether it's in the information game, and I think a lot of it is information, to be honest. Like, canceling out people's utility is useful in a lot of situations, but the window that you have to execute on it from the knife itself is so minimal that I find
we've seen it hit people the other way, where it's like they've not, like, I think Cypher on Ascent was one. I don't remember who did it, but it's like they got hit with the knife, and by the time players actually got into the site, all the utility was back online. They hadn't destroyed it, and they got caught in the trap. So it's like, it definitely it has its. Well, I think it's the same with like the null command. It's I think it's best in post plants because you just sit there and go, come on, then, like, you can't use any utility to come back into this site. Whereas running in, like, I guess you can use it as almost like a semi-free entry.
Well, speaking of semi-free entries, Zipman.
All right.
Done a good job. That blade is not going to catch Twist, and the steps will have been heard, though. They knew exactly where he was, so he won't get away with that. He had to run to avoid the blade, obviously. And that's cost him his life. 2 versus 5.
Spike planted.
Big having practically nothing. They're not going to use ultimates. Frankly, they're not going to have a chance to use them, really. Artis is bringing the fight to them in their own spawn.
Considering how these early rounds went, this is looking like a very different FPX. Getting into gear a little bit on this attacking side, and, well, completely clean. Dominating in this round, and sure, I guess in the ultimate game, that's where we might start to see a little something coming up, like having that lockdown, a potential retake setup. I really wouldn't mind that, especially on A, because I feel like Big have become a little bit one-dimensional, just in how they've been playing A long almost every single round and just fighting it. So it's something like Zipan basically came into that pre-firing, as you would, because they've been there every single time. So I'd like to see some of those setups which can revolve around you having that KJ ult, which currently Xiao's nowhere near his. So
But 2 rounds left to go as well, right? So we're not expecting you're going to see that Hunter's Fury coming online anytime soon.
Recovering it.
oh,
Should be
here we
safe
go.
to play,
Xiao Ace
yeah.
incoming. Mitch has just said it.
Well, it looks like you're going to get that lockdown usage. Oh, does it? Does it? Moving towards long now. I thought maybe she would be the one pushing into short, but I'll maybe save this again. Looks like they're going for control over the site in a much more traditional way, and they've seized that control very effectively.
I think this is a lockdown because the other players fell out of that site very easily. Like Goppy's just almost trying to whittle away at some of the players. They're spamming utility to try and slow down the plant as much as humanly possible. They were prepared for this. They just wanted to try and see if they could find anything early on. Now we're actually going to see the Cosmic Divide. I quite like this idea. Just try and lock them out of the site, not give them information, and there you go. Over the top comes the frag, and that's enough to destroy it. They were ready and prepared for that lineup, and now this becomes very difficult for the defenders to get back in. Obnox, he's still fighting, doing what he can, but Angel is so ready with that trade. And yeah, I think we've actually seen them use the fragment in most other rounds to clear backside. In this round, they held it to deny the lockdown. Well played, FPX.
Can we see the... I'm not sure if we can. I'm going to throw production under the bus and ask, even after the next round, if possible, in the halftime, we need to replay that last round, because I think Zipan hid inside Aslan's Cloudburst after they flashed through the Cosmic Divide. He got stunned and then ran into a Cloudburst, hid there, and was able to then take 2 kills afterwards, peeking out from it and catching them off guard. If that was Aslan's Cloudburst, I mean, it lost them the round. That's the sky. Oh, God! Nobody else peek this guy, please. No, you can't do it. Okay, well, they got away with it. And they'll get the res through as well. Gobby's going to try and deny it, but there's heavy traffic there. A lot of players staring at him.
I cannot use that.
Shock darts could actually do a hell of a lot here, but clearing the closer corner. Fragment used to make sure there's nobody up close, but again, it's a slowdown from FPX. They found the advantage they were looking for. Don't really need to over-aggress in this sort of scenario. Also, with Gobby using his shock darts, a lockdown of their own could be prepared.
Very true. Once that suppression is gone, yeah, you see the Sugetsu moves into position, pops down that lockdown. Big are going to hold on here for a moment. Gobby is suppressed, so no shock darts to come through. Nothing that... I mean, he hasn't got any, but he couldn't do anything about it.
30 seconds left.
Oh, I think it's the fragment again.
It is, yeah.
It seems like everybody's just using the fragment at this point as lockdown denial. They will, however, know that there should be at least 2 players here, but there's only 20 seconds left. They've tried to bait this rotation out. Gobby's gone nowhere. He's still just sat in this corner, and Xiao's walking with his knife out. It's free, and now the remaining players can look to try and rotate back in. FPX might have just misplayed this completely as Gobby again. It's just going to clutch out another round. This man's brain is far too big.
Switching sides.
Stunning performance there. FPX now 7-5 at the half. Big have really recovered that. I mean, the fragment usage, I didn't even notice it swinging down through short. And I think FPX certainly weren't calculating on that being the play. I feel like now you look at lockdown up against KO and you're thinking, where can you really use it? I mean, on short, you're going to be close enough that they can bounce it through from sight. They don't even need to peek you, and they can destroy it. I feel like under heaven's probably going to be one of the better places for it in a post plant, because at least then there's no angle they can really get to destroy it, right?
It depends if they have shock darts.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, shock darts, Hunter's Fury, like you come up against a team that's playing a breach in here as well.
It seems like Killjoy mains are in the mud at the moment.
Yeah, especially with Chamber coming out in a map like this, you know, you're going to see a lot of people feeling the hurt of these util counters.
Oh, they're going to get the information that at least a couple of players are pushing in that direction. And look at the rotation, or at least the early rotation. FPX were definitely thinking of just sprinting this one through, but it seems like the call has been made to go back. And actually, Zipan's going to get one through the wall. Not a bad start, but the rest of the players are still looking to make that push in towards the side. Zipan sticking around, will come out with a second. He does well. The other player has fallen back, and they'll be able to play the retake with a man advantage.
Now the plan for Big with low HP on Aslan and God B with player disadvantage as well. It doesn't necessarily put the round into their favor. Bravwell about to make God B that little bit easier to kill, but Aslan somehow gets away with a lot. The one kill, God B 14 HP though, won't be doing very much. Obnox, he's wall banging while running, and now got another bolt through the wall. 3 kills for Obnox as Big take the pistol. What an incredible round.
Oh, there's just no way. Like, to get headshot wallbanged, and then while he's running away, just taps a couple of bullets that kills off the remaining player. That's got to be infuriating for FPX, because other than that, especially for a full A-site rush, I think they did very well. Like, you had the initial start from Zipan, the calm and collective retake. I think other than a few whiffs onto, well, Aslan underneath, it was a decent retake. It was just that clutch at the end that didn't go their way, and, well, because of that, Big are right back in.
Absolutely. The door wide open, welcoming them onto this map of Haven. Normally quite a close one in terms of score lines. We can see those 6-6 score lines still end up in an OT. Well, in fact, we have only recently. So when you consider the fact that Big are looking likely to equalize at least, it's big smiles on their faces for that Obnox clutch. But FPX, they've left A completely open here, bar the one player. Xiao's got a fair bit of early information, though.
Yep, using the most disgusting sheriff skin in the game. I guess someone had to buy it.
I don't think they did. No, I think no one had to do that. That was a choice. Now, we got a fragment that has actually landed down on the site. I know. Oh, Twistin! He gets caught running through. I think he was about to die to his own fragment, but FPX are making sure there's no embarrassment for Big, other than the fact that they might just lose the second round to practically an eco. Zipan lands another leaving cast ball by himself. A big round from this Astramain, a support player, as we call him, and both players are peeking together. This is going to be tough, and he's taken down by Zipan's Sheriff, the third player to meet that fate in this round. Oh, we said Big right back in the game, but they might be right back out of it if FPX keep playing like that.
Can someone go back to the previous map where Mitch said that he didn't think that FPX were doing that much with their pistols? I'd just like that one to be like written somewhere and then play this round straight afterwards to yeah, just to prove that the curse of Mitchman still exists.
I said so far. I did say so far, you know, so it's all good. I know.
So it was an intentional jinx.
I did feel like, you know, FPX's impact compared to what it used to be, it just didn't feel like it was there on map one. Now they're back. Now they're certainly back.
They both hit headshots.
That is upsetting. Very,
unless you're
very
Kukuka,
upsetting.
in which case she's
here
ecstatic.
we go again. It was a 140, not a 145, right? Oh no, it was a 145. Sorry,
no, it was a 145. What do you mean?
I thought it was. I don't know why I thought it was a Phantom.
Oh god. They are going to get a plant. Extra credits at least. Rifle also. God B.
Yeah, he bought that this round, right? He played the hero rifle, which, I mean, it's got B playing the hero rifle. It's a point of its own, but he's been dropped. Now the chances go down so much more. We need these pistols to show up. Zipan making quick work of it. That flash was perfect, and the defuse should be easily found. Obnox not really having the right weapon for spamming through. Sure, it has the penetration, but not really the ammunition or fire rate to make that happen. 3-round lead for FPX.
Yeah, and the problem now is that Gobby, well, the hero rifle, I guess they got a little bit of extra credits across the rest of the players, but he'll now have to go down to the Bulldog. As said, I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as it was previously, so I'm okay with it. It will just be whether or not they can get anything done. I think almost the moment we've all been waiting for. Artis has done well on the attacking side, especially for an aggressive Jet pushing to be this high on the scoreboard. Very good, but now we get his defensive side operator, and yeah, well, I'm hopeful.
That was disgusting. That hit Twiston as well. He's down to a sliver of health, and Artis is not looking to give up just yet, but that might be a mistake. Over-aggression, perhaps. Looks like Sugetsu's at least avoided getting hit by that knife, but he has been spotted. The drone flying overhead. They've got a star down, and, well, the stuns come through on both sides, but a little bit late from the defense. The kill had already happened. Angel is going to be dealt with as well. They're coming in, funneling one at a time onto the site. FPX weren't winning the duels, but Zipan does manage to drop the spike and make this round a little bit more winnable. With Twiston being low, it might have something.
It's going to be tough, though, in this sort of after-plant scenario. I think they're going to need Shao to do quite a bit with his utility.
I mean, they fully cleared the site because they put down the knife. Then you've got a recon to guarantee. You've got a fragment for left side. They still have shock darts to play with, at least one here. And then they know that the cubby is clear. All they've got to do is play the long angles, but, you know, that's the hard part. They were really hoping someone played a little bit more aggressive. Shao! What a good read.
Yeah, I guess expecting the late flank to at least come round from one of the players. It won't matter, though. Round not one, and operator stolen away for the other side. Aslan will get that. Artis actually still has enough for another. Now, he could instead go for the Blade Storm in this round and look to play slightly more aggressively alongside it, but I feel like a lot of this, again, when I'm looking at the high impact kills, it always seems to be got B. Just in moments where they need it. Like, sure, going down there to Zipan gave a slight way back in, but it was more so when they were stunned up. I was thinking, okay, this is where things could get a little bit worrying. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think he also took out Artis.
I think so, yes. Yeah. So that smoke going down, it's recalled, and the player's been spotted, but so is Artis, so he has to give up control.
Take flight.
Big are going to start to close in on this A side. 3 players currently here. How much information will that drone get? Nothing more than they already knew. A Hunter's Fury will be activated to try and pursue. It gets Artis. Shao is down, and wow, this is a good push so far. They at least know that Angel's stuck in this corner and should be able to isolate those duels, but with Obnox going down, this becomes very dangerous indeed. They've just allowed Angel to walk out, making it back over to the site and waiting to take this peek onto Caspo's dealt with right away. A big blow for FPX with Gobby left alone. This man has been clutched so far and already got a triple kill, fading away to A long, where he'll actually successfully get a rotate to the C site.
I guess he's like, he'll plant any second. Any second. Any second. He's gonna plant. I'm not moving. There's no way he's gone all the way around, because, you know, why would he do that instantly? He's at what he's doing right now is he's gone back to spawn, and he's gonna come all the way back to A, and I don't want to look like a fool, so I'm just gonna wait. And in the meantime, Gobby's already planted.
As he finally makes his way towards the seaside, you can see Gobby has snuck his way all the way down into the cubby. He's going to run the clock, and that plant is actually really nicely angled for him. A recon to play with, but I mean, there's nothing to block vision for Sugetsu. He's a killjoy, and the alarm bot's already been used. Time to tap that and wait for a peek, and Gobby is just way too quick. 4 kills from this IGL. One of the oldest players we have in Valorant, really. This is unbelievable to see him dealing this level of damage with players like Twiston and Aslan, not only playing the duelist, but being Twiston and Aslan.
Yeah, I think they said it on the desk that Big have the oldest and youngest player on the same team. Well, with I think it's Caspe's 17, and I think Cobby was 34, so double the age of one of the players on his own team, which is crazy. And he's top of the board. And the thing is as well, I love that we're also setting up a lot of these clutch situations. Like he's just going to play the absolute smartest thing. He's like, okay, so he's got this dart. He'll put the dart down. That will reveal. He'll waste the time. And instead he's like, tap spike. I've headshot him, guys. Next round, let's go. Like it's not. Sometimes I feel like the players on the other side must be trying to outbrain him, and he's just sometimes doing the most basic thing, and that's why he's so difficult to read.
It could be, yeah. I mean, look, one of the things we used to always say in CS about Gobby was like he becomes a much better player when he's in a clutch situation because he doesn't have to worry about the rest of the team. Now, I think in Valorant, he's had a lot less fall off in the early rounds. I think he's actually managing a lot better here than he did in CS.
Yeah, for sure. I think especially with the amount of like different utility that there is for him to play with to sort of set things up in the early rounds, it's almost like the game was perfectly made for someone who can just outsmart oppositions in most cases. But yeah, he's definitely not shying away from some of the more aggressive peaks. Now, unfortunately for FPX in this round, that was it's a rough spot. Now, Artist potentially could try and throw in his Blade Storm, and that's one of the places where I feel like they really do have some opportunity. And I'm not necessarily a fan of like just the ultimate spam, but it can definitely cheese you around, especially when your economy is a little bit in the bin. And with the ultimates that they currently have available, there's a chance that they could cheese through around.
Well, Tom, your two favorite words on the screen, technical and pause. Now, a player is unfortunately disconnected, as apparently a Formula 1 race is happening outside my house. They'll be back in a moment, though. It shouldn't take too long.
Formula 1 Island.
yeah, it's actually just a bunch of tractors drifting.
I was about to say, it's like, that would be, you've got all the, like, oh, you got Monaco, you're going off to like, all these beautiful warm places. They're like,
down to
it comes back, we're going to close out in Ireland. And all of them would just be like wearing a coat in their F1 car.
It's actually just like a soccer field that they've put a little bit of well, we don't even have those, I suppose. We don't really have we have a different kind of football here. That's why I call it soccer. We have Gaelic football.
But isn't it far more aggressive, right?
Well, kind of, yeah, because you hold the ball, so there's a lot of tackling and, like, you know, you gotta hit the ball out of their hands, so sometimes you hit them, you know, it is what it is. And then there's hurling where you use sticks. But you know, it's good old crack. bit of fun.
Oh god, yeah. No, not a spot I think I'd ever want to play. I think I would get absolutely battered. But hopefully that player will be able to join soon, and especially with the game hotting up, because it was looking like FPX were at least starting to build into like pulling away with this one, like, especially getting the operator online for Artist. We kind of got what we want, hitting some nice shots, some wall bangs here and there, but it does just seem to be a lot of those clutch round situations where basically he has been better, like, or God B, I guess. I said he, like everybody already knows what I'm talking about, but God B has been better in a lot of those clutch scenarios. Like, you look at the overall fragging, this game really does seem to work firmly in the favor, at least, of FPX.
You would think so, yeah. The way things are playing out so far, Big, they've surprised us in a number of rounds. Let's see what they can do here with a Blade Storm online for Aslan on the attack. The rest of the team having rifles to play with, and FPX have practically nothing. Pistols and a Spectre. This is one where Big should easily find the victory. You don't want to see them even lose that many players, but FPX have rotated in the B site. They want to crunch this with the weaker weapons. Angel's already able to pick up a triple opening.
What?
Talking about fragging IGLs, and Angel steps it up, not to be forgotten. 10-8. FPX have won the round.
Was the tech issue that Angel had forgot to turn on his monitor up until this round, and then just decided, like, all right, guys, I can't play this game just with my mind. I'll have to actually see. Like, what just happened? Like, he just went from, like, doing all right, like, had a couple of okay rounds, but to this? With a Spectre?
Yeah, that is that is ridiculous. The second kill he got was a spray through the smoke by the looks of things, but on the back of the site, taking Aslan, who's ulted up with a Blade Storm, and winning that duel with a Spectre when he knows that you're there and you don't even know he's there. I mean, there's just so many things that should not have went Angel's way in that one, and it's one of the reasons we love to watch this guy play the game. But God B, the IGL on the other side, has had a very short life in this pistol round for Big, and they've bought what they can, but they're not getting a whole lot done with it. Artis is hunting them down. Having used his Blade Storm in the previous round, he almost aces this one. Short by 1 kill. 11-8. I think they're going to be happy with the round win more so than anything else.
I like the fact that when Big win like a really audacious round, Godby takes a pause. And when FPX win an audacious round, Artis in the next just goes and kills everyone, almost thriving off that energy. Like, this is the most Artis round ever. It's just like, I am just going to keep facing everyone until they're all dead. And you know what? That's why he adds another layer to this team that I definitely don't think they had before, because I feel like they needed a little bit of that aggressor mixed in with everything that Angel has put together.
Back on G2, we used to always say about Artis when he was playing the Sova, like, you know, I love this guy, but I would love to see him just off the leash, because he's the kind of guy that if he turns his brain off, he just becomes, and then is like managed by somebody, right? If you make it so Artis doesn't have to think and he just has to aim, he's one of the best players in the world, man. This guy's nuts, and we saw it dominating EU for so long back in the day. Sugetsu only able to find the one here. Now under a lot of pressure, the operator only has 1 shot left and he won't even fire it. Zipman comes to save the day though. A Hunter's Fury landed onto Caspa, and Big might just have ran out of luck. Twiston is the last man alive, tucked in on this site. No spike possession. And at this point, with 18 HP and being revealed, yeah, that's how we thought it was going. 4 chances now for FPX to close out this map and take us all the way to split.
Yeah, they've just blitzed through these last few rounds. Artis as well, 2KD, 26 and 13. Zipan up there, 21 and 11. They have those performers exactly as any. By the way, Xiao has 19 assists. He is out assisting a KO. And we know how easy it is to get assists as a KO. So that's absurd.
I mean, 25 assists between 2 players is pretty nuts. Obviously, yeah. You're a KO, you're a Sova. It's not like they're doing 100
25.
damage. But at the same time,
try adding 10 to that, and you might have the.
Wait, what did I do?
You said 25. It was 35.
Oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, a lot of trouble here as Big push into the site and just get torn to shreds in the initial duels. Maybe a chance. Twiston, though, is having to be revived. And with Gabi swinging out into the final players, it was a foregone conclusion, really. Even though he did shock dart Artis, 13-8 to close this map out. FPX are taking us to map number 3, and that was an incredibly impressive second half. You know what? 13-7, 13-8. It seems like we're going to have a pretty even third map. At least I hope so.